Do you think you've truly been loved?
No.
No. And do you think you really have experienced loving someone?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
And when you can't get that love back?
What I learned, it's not that I'm not lovable. It's that they're not capable.
They can't love.
They don't have it in them. They need to appreciate the little person inside of them. They need to love them. Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez just said no man has ever truly loved her, which is a bold statement from someone who has been collecting engagement rings like she is Thanos, snapping her fingers every time a relationship disintegrates and a new plotline appears. I don't dislike J.Lo, but let's be real. She's a better actor and dancer than singer by a mile. What keeps me from liking her more is that she just feels inauthentic. There's always a layer of performance, even when she's supposed to be vulnerable. She'll cry about heartbreak while keeping one eye on the camera angle. And every time another relationship ends, she points fingers outward when the evidence keeps circling back in. She is the common denominator. When she says she's never been loved, I don't think she means no one ever cared. I think she means these rich, powerful men refuse to let her walk all over them, and that doesn't sit well with someone who's used to running the show. The truth is simple and kind of sad. Jennifer Lopez has always had two great loves in her life: Jennifer Lopez and fame. She told Howard Stern she has never been loved, but she has definitely loved others. It sounds poetic until you remember she has been married 4 times, engaged 6, and releasing post-breakup anthems since flip phones. Every time she finds herself, it arrives with a press tour, a photo shoot, and a documentary about how this time is different. The lighting changes. The monologue stays the same. Then came the moment no one saw coming. Her first husband, Ojani Noah, woke up and chose clarity. The man has been silent for decades, living his life, minding his business. One viral clip later, he logs on and says, "Stop putting us down with your victim card. The problem is not us. It is you." He says he left everything behind to support her, that he was loyal and faithful, and that she cheated. He says she begged him to stay not out of love, but to avoid bad press, because a clean narrative mattered more than a messy truth. Then he lands the punchline that ricocheted across the internet. Tell the truth. You are the problem. When your first ex from the 90s drops a statement that sounds less like gossip and more like a therapy summary, that is not coincidence. That is a pattern finally collecting its receipts. It is also why the public reaction felt different this time. Viewers were not arguing about whether she is talented. They were reacting to the confidence behind a claim that does not match the public record. You can be a superstar and still be wrong about your own story. Both things can be true. Fame has always been her longest relationship. It is the one partner she has never betrayed. The pattern is brutally simple. She meets a man, weaponizes chemistry into a brand, and calls it destiny. The film arrives, the red carpets glow, the ring debuts like a product launch, and eventually, the story collapses under the weight of the performance. She does not fall in love. She casts leading men for a role that requires applause on cue. You could see it with Ben Affleck. Those red carpet smiles were not intimacy. They were press obligations that smelled like cold hairspray and overtime. He looked like a man blinking Morse code for help. The first time around, he said the media crushed them. The second time around, he became the media storyline. That is not romance. That is déjà vu with a publicist. This is not about hating Jennifer. It is about watching someone repeat the same heartbreak like it is a franchise reboot. She keeps saying she did not love herself, but self-love without accountability is just ego with better lighting. If you are the common denominator in every wreck, at some point the lesson is not look out for traffic. The lesson is hand over the keys. The universe keeps sending her the same exam, and she keeps filming a music video instead of studying. She does not crave peace, she craves plot twists. Every heartbreak is a production. Every apology is a rollout. Every new man is a campaign. Even her most tender confessions arrive on cue, with perfect eyeliner and a crane shot. Ojani's post hit because it did not read like bitterness. It read like relief. He was not trying to drag her. He was breaking the fourth wall of celebrity romance, saying what everyone in the front row is too scared to say. The fairy tale keeps flopping because the main character refuses to evolve. He wanted a marriage. She wanted a storyline. Those are not the same thing. Look at the timeline and it starts to look like marketing. Every time the career slows, a romance appears. A wedding, a ring, a song, a headline, a streaming special, and then the quiet chill of reality when the cameras leave. Then, the sorrow single arrives, then the rebirth speech, and the cycle resets. That is not love. That is brand maintenance disguised as vulnerability. And yes, the audience helps. We reward the spectacle. She cries on cue, and we call it empowerment. She blames her exes, and we call it growth. She shows a ring, and we call it hope because we want fairy tales to be true, even when the props are doing all the work. But even the faithful are starting to see the stitching in the costume. Familiar beats feel less like sincerity and more like sound check. There is another quiet truth running under all of this. Real love is private. It thrives in boring places, in ordinary kitchens, in conversations that do not trend. It does not need a photographer. It does not require a premiere date. It shows up when there is nothing to sell. That is why so many of her exes look settled after her. They did not become better men. They just stepped out of the spotlight and remembered what normal feels like. It has to be hard giving a woman the world, and she snarls her nose up and says, "But why not the moon?" Ben was the clearest sign. You could see it in his posture, in the tense smile that never reached his eyes, in the way he melted when the cameras were gone and snapped back into wax museum mode when they reappeared. The message was simple. He did not want to be a prop in someone else's redemption arc. He wanted a marriage that existed even when no one was watching. At this point, hearing Jennifer talk about love feels like hearing a director defend a flop. She is too close to the production to notice the script has not changed. The set is gorgeous. The costume is flawless. The music swells. But the story beats are the same, and the audience knows it. If you keep remaking the same movie, you do not have a saga. You have a loop. There is a line she returns to, the one about not being loved. The human truth underneath it matters. Many people feel unseen. Many people choose partners who cannot meet them where they live. But the solution is not to keep staging grand gestures. The solution is to build a quiet life that can hold love without filming it. That requires putting the camera down. That requires letting someone in who is not there to be a co-star. Every partner eventually becomes a mirror, and the moment the reflection stops flattering her, the mirror breaks. She keeps saying she is focusing on herself, but that has been the plot since the beginning. Maybe focusing on herself is the problem. Maybe the work is learning to focus on someone else without turning them into content. People talk about reinvention like it is a superpower. Reinvention without reflection is not growth. It is repetition in a nicer outfit. The costumes change, the monologues sharpen, the lighting softens, but if the story does not evolve, the ending cannot either. So here is the uncomfortable version that her yes people will never say out loud. She is not unloved, she is unreachable. She wants devotion that can survive a premiere calendar, a press junket, and a documentary camera in the living room. She wants privacy with a publicity plan. She wants intimacy that can be paused for pickups. Real love does not work like that. I will say it again. I do not dislike J.Lo, but somewhere along the way, she mistook applause for affection, and applause is loud enough to drown out warnings. When the only voices you hear are paid to agree with you, accountability starts to sound like hate. The real twist is not that no one has ever loved her. It is that no one has ever been allowed to. Not fully, not off camera, not without a set list. If she wants a different ending, she needs a different process. She needs to choose the kitchen over the carpet, the conversation over the caption, the person over the persona. Because when the cameras turn off and the yes people go home, there is only one person left in the room, and she has the power to fix this or repeat it. Maybe the person who never truly loved Jennifer Lopez was the version of Jennifer Lopez that only exists under perfect lighting. The human one is still in there, waiting for the spotlight to move. There is still time. Stardom does not forbid softness, and legacy does not require a love story that doubles as marketing. If she can sit still long enough to hear a no from the people who profit from her, yes, she might finally meet the version of herself who does not need a camera to feel seen. And if that happens, the next chapter might finally read like a life instead of a logline.